Good evening. It's Friday once again. Let's see here as we get rolling off here. I've got Jeff with me again tonight, and Tanya's hanging in here. Y'all ready to have a drink?
Yeah, buddy.
Tanya, have you
Need
got
one.
the Jura fired up upstairs? Oh boy, Tanya, is that Tanya's neurodiverse coffee mug?
It is.
Awesome. Jeff, what are you having?
I'm having number seven tonight.
Number seven.
Yeah.
I'm 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 going to break out some good stuff tonight because I've worked hard today.
It's
I'm
been a
uh
long day for me.
I'm gonna party with the Colonel tonight, I think. And let's see, Eric. Glad you could make it with us. Let me get back over here where I can see what's coming through on the chat window. All right, Eric's with us. Mark, Jason, Kayla. If you're having a drink with me tonight, let me know what you're having. I'm gonna have a couple of fingers of this Colonel E.H. Taylor from the guys up at Buffalo Trace. This is really good. Last week, I told you guys I was going to a lottery at my ABC store and hopefully was going to have a chance to get something nice. And they had about 60 bottles of stuff available, and they had about 85 people there. And I was one of the 20 or 25 that didn't get my number drawn. So I didn't get an opportunity to buy anything. So that's what happened there. Janice is having some red wine. Good, nice. Let's see, Tanya, what did you make, a cappuccino?
No, I just went with the straight coffee tonight.
Straight coffee. Well, cheers, everybody. Mm,
Cheers.
mm. I'm telling you what, it's easy for me to say that I don't think I've had a better bourbon than this. I haven't had a lot of great bourbons. Uh, this is a kind of a bottled in bond version. It's maybe one step up the ladder from Eagle Rare. It's really good. Russ is having a barrel aged Chardonnay. That's interesting. Hank, glad you could make it with us tonight. Ryan, glad you could make it with us. Tanya, I'm going to drop you back into the background here. Huzaifa's with us tonight. That's good because I've got an update of the pictures from the dry aging project. I've got that 17 plus pound whole ribeye dry aging. I don't have any updates yet on the steak locker. Like I said, I bought that knowing that I probably wouldn't see it till the first part of November. So I'll try to stay on top of that. Cannon, glad you could make it. I was down in Georgia yesterday. I went to visit the guys at Atlanta Grill Company. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit as well. I stopped by the new warehouse space to check it out. And Ed, glad you could make it. I saw Gary White. Gary was busy unloading a container of Kamado Joe's when I got there, so I didn't stay long. I just went in long enough to make a couple of photos, and I posted those in the Kamado Joe group yesterday. I've been playing around with this new 360-degree camera. Did you see those pictures I posted yesterday, Jeff?
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I'm having some fun with that camera. The video that I posted today was my walkthrough video at Atlanta Grill Company that I made with that same camera, and I was pretty happy with the results. There are a couple of glitches that you can see happening in that video where it's stitching imagery together, but overall, I'm real happy with it, and it made a cool video. I kind of took everybody on a walkthrough tour of Atlanta Grill Company. If you haven't had a chance to glance at that video, check it out. Uh, it's posted on Atlanta Grill Company's Facebook page and their YouTube channel, and it's also posted on the Man Cave Meals Facebook page. That was kind of fun. This little camera I put it on a selfie stick and hold it out around me, but the camera can't see the selfie stick. It's kind of neat that the selfie stick's invisible in the pictures. So, but it
I
was
didn't see the camera either in the pictures.
no, you can't see the camera
Yeah.
either. So the camera's got a front-facing lens and a rear-facing lens, and both lenses are slightly wider angle than 180 degrees. It's really cool. So it's shooting a 360-degree image, and in fact, I'm getting ready. Let me bring this picture up. I've got a picture that I'm going to show you that I shot today. This is what I've been doing today, and this is why I'm treating myself to some good bourbon tonight. I've been working in the yard most of the day with my father-in-law. Tanya's dad was up helping me mulch. This bed right here that you can see in this picture is a new bed that I've created in the yard. We used to have 8 or 9 big Leland cypress trees on the back side of the property here that gave me a beautiful privacy barrier that are no longer there. Those trees had to come out for reasons I don't even want to discuss. It just makes me mad, but we've planted some new stuff in there and I've made a bed. But this is a 360-degree photograph that I created with this camera. Brian, the camera is called an Insta360 One X2, and it's a little small camera that'll fit in your pocket, but it shoots these. This is a 360-degree picture, and as you'll see, I'll spin around. There's another bed up there that we're working on. That one didn't get fully mulched. We've got another bed here in the middle of the yard that we did get fully mulched, and I've been moving mulch all day. Down here, you can see a little bit of the pile that's left. I got a dump truck load of mulch. I don't know how many cubic feet of mulch this is. All I know is it was 12 scoops from whatever kind of loader this guy has, and he brought it here on a dump truck and dumped it. And we spent all day today spreading mulch. But the 360 degrees of this camera is really kind of cool. It can see in all directions. And in this picture here, I'm holding the selfie stick. You can't really see the stick, but over here you can see the shadow of it, and you can see the little camera out there on the end. But this goes plumb up and looks at the sky and everything. It's really cool. I'm gonna have some fun playing with that camera. But that's the camera that I shot the video with at Atlanta Grill Company yesterday. That was Jeff. Did you get a chance to glance at that video?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to talk about everything they sell at Atlanta Grill Company. My video, I noticed, was 26 minutes long. That's a lot longer than I normally go on a video. And I just hit the highlights of what's in there. I hit the major stuff. That video would have been over twice as long if I would have talked about everything that was on the shelves, especially if I had gone through all of the sauces and rubs that intrigue me. Those 2 aisles in that store are crazy. You can get lost on those aisles. And as I was walking through the store, I saw the bitters, the Run Amok bitters. And I said to myself in that video, I said, I'm going to grab some of these to take home with me to make an old fashioned. Did I remember to do that? No, I did not. And I also saw that skewer that you and Luca saw. Did you get a set of those?
Yep.
Okay. Well, they have those at Atlanta Grill Company. I saw them hanging on the rack. I said, I'm going to buy a pair of those. And I forgot to do that also. So I just ordered it. I ordered the skewers and I ordered some bitters. And I ordered some sort of mix that Run Amok has for making an old fashioned. So I'm going to try those. I ordered 2 different kinds of bitters. I ordered the mix they have for an old fashioned, and I ordered those skewers. So they'll be here middle of next week sometime. Are you at home, Jeff? Are you in Florida?
Yep. Finally.
So, were you on the road all day today?
Yeah, I left at 4:00 this morning. Went up, met Luca, gave him his stuff from the show, and then drove back.
Yeah.
That's a long drive. I got back home at 5:30.
Did you go visit the AGC?
Nope.
Nope.
If I would have done that, I wouldn't be on right now.
That's cool. Lucas, Luca's got some. I don't know if Luca's in here with us tonight or not. Luca,
I
if
haven't
you're
seen him
here,
come up.
give us a shout out. Alexander's here from Quebec. Nice. We got Canada. I usually have a few Australians in here. And Eric, yeah, they've only got one store. Uh, well, technically now they have two because the the warehouse facility that I went by, they have a very small retail center there, and I think if I remember, if I understand correctly, Jason and Gary were saying that they were required
Yep.
to have that there because of some zoning regulation. They couldn't just have warehouse and logistics at that particular site. So they have warehouse and logistics there, but they also have to have retail. Anurag's with us from San Diego. Welcome aboard. Phyllis said proof syrup is where it's at for old fashions. Yeah, I bought some syrup. I've never used this before, but Run Amok Maple has an old fashioned syrup that I looked at the bottle and it said you mix 1 part syrup with 3 parts bourbon, and then of course you drop a couple small ice cubes in it, and probably the typical old fashioned is going to have a twist of an orange peel in it as well. So I'm going to try that. I'm definitely going to try it. So if you've got a suggestion for me on something I need to buy to make a really good old fashioned, let me know what it is, because I'm I've never made an old fashioned. I've bought them in the past. It's been a long time since I've bought an old fashioned, but since I have this new fascination with bourbon and whiskey, I'm probably going to start trying some old fashions and maybe some Manhattans. Something, some of the simpler mixes that involve bourbon, and we'll definitely talk about that. I'll show you if next week. By the time we come on live next week, I'll have those bitters. And I bought the Run Amok brand simply because. Let me bring that website up. I buy a lot of their maple syrup. Atlanta Grill Company carries their entire line of maple syrup, and they've also started dealing with honey. I saw the honey at Atlanta Grill Company yesterday. I haven't bought any of their honey yet. I haven't tried it, but their maple syrup I absolutely love. They've got a bunch of really great flavored maple syrups, and this this sugar maker's cut is my favorite of the batch. This is not a flavored maple syrup. It is a straight maple syrup, and it's one of the best that I've ever had.
That
But
one in the vanilla infused is really,
the
really good.
vanilla, yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say, Jeff. This cinnamon and vanilla,
Yeah,
this
that's off
stuff
the
right
hook.
here is incredible. That is off the hook. If you want a flavored maple syrup, that's definitely one you're going to want to try. And I did see this sparkle syrup down there yesterday.
My
It's
granddaughter loves that stuff.
okay. Well, uh, yeah, this is a granddaughter sort of thing, I
Yeah.
believe for sure. Yeah, it's
Put
not
it on her
something I'd
pancake,
buy.
sparkle, she's good to go.
Yeah, it's not something that I would buy, but I guarantee you it's good maple syrup. I guarantee you it's delicious. I haven't had uh, a run amok yet that I didn't like, but they've got some new flavors out here that I haven't tried before either. This banana rum infused, I haven't tried that, and I bet that's good. I've had the bourbon barrel aged, and they've got a smoked one somewhere. The smoked pecan. I've had the cardamom infused, but all of this stuff, Atlanta Grill Company carries their whole line, but the bitters is what I bought today, or I ordered it today from Atlanta Grill Company. The I bought this maple old fashioned, and this is a syrup that you mix straight with uh, bourbon to come up with an old fashioned. But I also bought uh, the orange maple bitters, and bought another one. I don't remember what I bought. That figures, doesn't it?
It'll be like
So
Christmas time.
yeah, I'll have to go back and look. I thought I bought the other one I bought may not have been Run Amok. I bought something else that was cherry, and I just have to go back and look and see what it was I bought. But I'll figure out the old fashioned thing. Do you like old? Have you had old fashions before, Jeff?
I haven't had an old fashioned in years. It's either beer or straight up whiskey or
Right.
bourbon, you know?
Well, that's me. I've never been. When I was younger, I used to do the mixed drink thing, but back when I was doing that, it wasn't about bourbon. It was about how much alcohol can I pour down my throat without passing out, you know. And when you mix enough fruit juice in with it, you sometimes forget that the alcohol's there, and it goes down pretty easy. It goes down too easy.
Well, back in the day when I was cooking, it was always, you took care of the bartender
Yeah,
took care of you.
that's
So I
exactly
mean, it was
right.
all night long I drank.
There was this place that I used to go when I was single in the town I used to live in here, and it was a great club because, I won't say when I was single. This was between the time I was married before and between the time I'm married now. It was the crowd at this place was more along my age group, and the bartender there was a friend of mine that I went to high school with, and I would go sit down at the bar. I would drop a $20 bill in the tip jar, and then my drinks were excellent all night long. So, and I haven't seen that guy in a while. I need that bar closed up. It's a restaurant now, so I don't ever know what happened to my bartender friend. Maybe I should try to chase him down, but uh, we would do. I like the White Russian. I would get the White Russians and I would drink White Russians, and that's a bad story. Also, there's just there's just bad things that happen inside your body when you've got too much alcohol in it with milk. So I think Jeff knows what I'm talking about.
Not a good combination.
No, it's not. So anyway, makes maple syrup from their trees. Yeah, that would be cool. I've never seen it done. I've seen pictures and videos of that process, but when Tanya and I went on our honeymoon, we went on a New England road trip, and up in Vermont, I bought several bottles of some pretty good maple syrup. Uh, the the people in Vermont and New Hampshire, there's a war going on. Well, I won't say a war. The Canadians think they make the best maple syrup, and then our guys up in Vermont and New Hampshire think they make the best maple syrup. And I don't know. What do you think, Jeff?
I've had them all, from New Hampshire, and Canadian. I think they're all good.
Yeah,
The
I'm not.
process is the same. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I'm not complaining about any of the ones I've had. There are great price discrepancies between the grades of maple syrup. I've learned,
definitely.
and I don't fully understand it, and I don't fully understand the darkness variety. Uh,
It's in the cooking.
yeah, so and when I'm cooking with maple syrup, it's a background thing. It's not often foreground. So um, the run amok's been good to me.
The only
I've
good thing
had.
about the Canadian is if you go to the over the border, you get
Mhm.
it a whole lot cheaper.
This is true. Yeah,
So,
and it's probably the same with ours, but I don't know. I did when I was in Canada. I don't think I saw any American made maple syrup at the places that I was looking to get
probably
maple
not,
syrup.
because it would
Yeah.
be more expensive.
Right. Yeah, Ryan says the Whistle Pig bourbon barrel aged maple syrup is amazing. I saw some of that as well. That is made by Run 'em Up. That's made by this same company I'm talking about. Jeff, have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that one yet.
They had it at Atlanta Grill. I saw it at the let me go back here and see if that's on the I think it's a special edition. I don't know if it's on their website here.
I've never seen
Uh,
that in their store, so I'm not
yeah,
thinking that it
it's
is.
here. It is. This is the stuff. This is another Run Amok product. I thought about buying a bottle of that, and I just didn't do it. Maybe I should. Maybe I'll try to remember to grab that next time I'm in there. But Whistle Pig is a bourbon, and I guess Run Amok has partnered with these guys to make a bourbon barrel aged maple syrup with those barrels. Is it? It's limited. Yeah, Ryan. Yeah, I maybe should have grabbed it then because I might not see it again. But Ryan says that's good. So yeah, I can see where that would be good because I think maple and bourbon are kind of a good combination because
Yep.
a lot of great bourbon has a natural maple flavor, a natural maple sort of backbone, maple and vanilla, butterscotch. There's all kinds of flavors that start to come out as you start tasting this stuff. So let me see, where am I now? I don't want to get lost here. Let's have a look at the dry aging. This is what my roast looked like the day I put it in the refrigerator. It hasn't nothing's changed. This picture I took about 3 or 4 days in, and you can see that it's darkening up. It's starting to do its thing. And today is the 10-day mark. Today's the first. Yep, today's 10 days, and this is where we are today. So this thing's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's getting darker. It's giving up water. I haven't weighed it. I guess I could take it out and weigh it and see how much weight it's lost because this thing's going to lose. See if I can remember. I don't remember how much it's going to lose, up to 25, maybe 30% of its weight during this dry aging process. So that's where we are. I'm going to leave that. That's got 30 more days. I'm not going to take that out till sometime around Halloween, but I'll show you another picture of it next week because by the next week is the stage where the enzymatic and biological changes start to occur in the meat. Uh, Early in the dry aging process, all this thing's doing is giving up moisture. And Eric, this one's going to be done around Halloween. I'm going to let this one go for roughly 40 days, give or take 2 days. Since Halloween's on a Sunday and I'll work on the weekends, it's possible that I'll pull it out on Friday before or the Monday or Tuesday after. So it's going to be right along in there somewhere. That's where I'm stopping this one. So, but at about the 17-day mark, 17 to 18 days is when the enzymes and the biological reactions that are going to happen inside this meat start happening. And that's when it starts to develop what they call the funk. You can start to smell it at that point. You won't smell much, in my experience, with the umai bags. Out of all the stuff I've dry aged in the umai bags, I haven't really noticed much of an odor. Brian, this is a whole ribeye. This is a choice Angus beef, about a 17 and a half pound whole ribeye that we got going. And this will be the last time that I dry age, probably using the umai bags. Jeff, I'm going to send you these bags that I have and let you try it out.
Cool.
I've got that kit right here. I haven't mailed it out yet, but I'm gonna drop this in an envelope and send it your way so you can try that. Uh, Eric, what's going to happen? I'm going to cut most of that into steaks, but I'm also going to take one fairly large segment out of the thick end of it, and I'm going to do a dry aged prime rib because I've never done that before. That will be my Christmas prime rib video. This thing will come out the first. I'll publish that video probably the first. That'll be the first video that comes live in December, I believe, and I'm thinking it's going to be really amazing. I'm going to cook it way before then. That'll be the first cook I do after I take this thing out of the bag. I don't want to freeze it before I do that. I want that cook to be done before I freeze that beef. And you can freeze dry aged beef, it's not a problem, but I don't want to freeze it before I do that prime rib roast. Uh, like I said, I've never had dry aged prime rib before. It's going to be a first. So that's one of the things I'm kind of looking forward to. If any of you guys ever had dry aged prime rib, I know that most people who like dry aged beef have had a dry aged ribeye before, but if you had a prime rib done that way, I'm real curious. It might be a flop. I don't know. I can't imagine that it would be, but
Yeah, you'll be fine.
yeah, I think so. Haven't quite decided how I'm going to prepare it. I'm probably going to use my typical method. My favorite way to cook a prime rib is to give it a flash sear up front. This will be a 2 grill process for me. I'll fire up 2 grills. I'll have one running somewhere between 500 and 550 degrees, and I will put that guy in that 500-degree grill for 15 to 20 minutes to let it form a caramelized outside, and then I'll take it off and run it at 250 degrees until I get to about 122, 123, and maybe even 120. I might pull it out at 120 because carryover cooking on that one will go 6 or 7 degrees without any trouble, and I like that to finish up medium rare. But it'll be a new experience for me. Eric says I should try the rotisserie. I've I've done some prime ribs on the rotisserie, and they haven't been my best results. They're good. Don't get me wrong. You know, a lot of people love prime rib on the rotisserie, but my best results have come just over indirect low heat. I'm
I
not
would say
able
with the
to,
dry age, that's where you want to go with the indirect
yeah,
low heat
even if it
because you
wasn't.
don't have that fat content that you're going to have, with the
Well, the
regular
fat
prime rib.
content shouldn't be changing a whole lot, but the moisture's not going to be there like it's going to be. It's going to be a little different. So this when I do the rotisserie, I typically get an inch or so of grade meat on the inside. I don't get a nice The outer edges of mine are cooked a little more than I like them to be, and I really don't like overcooking that spinalis. You know that the the ribeye cap that they call it. You know what? Or not?
Yeah,
What do they call that?
it's
I
the
guess they
cap.
do the cap. Yeah, the spinalis muscle. I don't like overcooking that, and that's on the outside of the meat, and that's why I don't typically do a prime rib
That's the
roast on
primo
the roast.
spot.
Yeah, I don't want to lose that to that. What's the best dessert that you can recommend to make in my smoker or my Kamado Joe? Oh man, I've cooked so many desserts in the
Cobbler,
Kamado. Cobblers are amazing. Cobblers are really good. There's no
cobbler.
doubt about that. Uh, what's my cobbler's hard to beat, and cobbler's silly easy to make too.
Mhm.
The only thing I can recommend for you, David, is go real easy on the smoke because you can ruin a dessert with smoke if you're not careful. I typically don't use any smoking wood, and I cook it on my Kamado Joe Classic 2, which is I have that grill set aside. I don't cook meat on that grill anymore. That's my baking grill, and I use a very clean burning charcoal. I either use Royal Oak or Rockwood in that grill where I've got the minimal smoke profile, and it's amazing. Cobblers are good. Apple pie, peach pie, cherry pie, strawberry pie. Any of your basic pies come out really well. I've done
Cherry dump
cheesecake.
cake comes out good too.
I've only done dump cake one time. For the work that goes into a dump cake, I'd rather just do a cobbler. Uh, Dump cake is good though. Maybe I need to do another one because it's been a long time since I've done one. Uh, we'll talk about dry aged brisket here in a minute. I've got some thoughts on that. I've seen it done, and I really have some thoughts on how I think that process could be improved. Uh, Jeff, have you ever seen any of these people do dry age briskets?
Nope. I would be. I don't know how that's going to come out.
I
It's
think
either going to
Darren,
be excellent or it's going to be a fail.
I think Darren Wilson may have done one. I'm sure Guga's done one at what's Guga's YouTube channel called? Sous Vide Everything or Guga
Yeah.
Foods. He's done that. Darren's with us. He says he's done a dry age brisket. Uh, Greg Mervich over at Ballistic Barbecue's done dry age briskets as well. Uh, my problem with the brisket is just like Darren said here, you lose too much weight for the shape of that piece of meat. But I think there's a trade-off that needs to be looked at that I haven't seen anybody do yet. There's two things that happen when you dry age, and we talked about this last week. The first thing is water weight loss. What the water weight loss does is it concentrates the beef flavor. The second part of the process is this enzymatic and biological reaction I'm telling you about, where that funk comes into play, where the flavors change. And with a brisket and the shape of a brisket, I think what needs to happen to get the best result on a brisket with dry aging is to not let it go into the biological stage. I think a brisket needs to be dry aged and pulled out and cooked before it gets to that point, before it loses too much water weight. So, that being said, I think dry aging a brisket, I think I might try this. I'm going to wait till the steak locker comes to do it, but I think dry aging a brisket for 14 days or 14 to 17 days might produce something that's really good. It's not going to have the funk and the nuttiness that you get from longer dry ages like we'll get on this ribeye, but I think that trade off might produce something that's better than a typical brisket, and you also won't lose quite as much from what you're having to shave off because the you won't have as much exterior to trim off if you pull it off at a 14-day point. You might even be able to get away with not having to trim anything off of it. Like I said, this ribeye that I have going right now, this is we're at 10, no, we're only at 10 days right now. I put that in on the 21st, and this is the first. So that's been in for 10 days. Even at 10 days, you might be good because I think you probably could get away with, uh, I don't know, guys. That's a real good question, and I don't have a great answer because I've not tried it. I've watched several people do 30+ day dry aging on briskets, and you lose a lot of meat on the flat. By the time you trim the bark that forms the pellicle that forms off of that brisket, you've lost a lot of your flat thickness, and it doesn't cook well when it's trimmed down that low. I also think should be done is after that thing's trimmed, that thin section of the flat, if the cook would double that thing over and tie it where we're creating thickness there that didn't exist to begin with, it might cook a lot better and you might have a better result. I've got a lot of ideas of what might work and might make a better result, but I've never seen anybody do that. The people that I've seen dry age briskets just put it in the umai bag, let it dry age, they trim it, cook it, and then they have to throw away about 25 or 35% of the flat because it dried out during the cooking process. But there's a lot of there's some opportunity there, I think, for improvement in the process. The other thing that I think somebody should try is you should butterfly that brisket. Butterfly and roll it out and get it all the same thickness and stuff that sucker and roll it back up, tie it off, and slow cook it. There's opportunities there that nobody's taken yet that I've seen. So guys, this kind of stuff I'm telling you right now, if you want to take it and run with it, do it, because I'm talking about things that I think somebody needs to do that I haven't done yet. There's a lot of opportunity here with dry aged brisket that I've never seen anybody follow through with. I think there's something that could happen there. What do you think, Jeff? Is anything I'm saying making any sense?
Yeah, you definitely. I think you're on point with the taking and wrapping that end of the flat on top to add some thickness to it. Because you're right. I mean, you take and you dry age that thing too long. By the time you cut everything away and then you cook it, that end of that flat is going to be pretty much waste.
Yeah,
So you need to. That's why I was almost thinking, rather than doing that, taking the brisket and cut the flat off right behind the point, so that all
yeah,
you had was that big piece of point and flat, and dry age that, and leave that other part of the flat. Make corned beef with it or something.
yeah. Todd, I'm glad you like that meatloaf. That's good stuff. Jeff, another thing you could do is just cut the flat off and cut. Cut. I wouldn't say separate the point and flat. Let's come up to where the point meets the flat. Cut straight down through it. Use that flat
That's what
for
I was talking
whatever
about.
else you want to use it to, and dry age the big piece.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah,
Was taking
that.
and cutting it right there, because I think that's going to give you your best results. Because that end down there, by the time
Mhm.
it dry ages and you cut off,
Oh, here we go. Here's the deal.
crud.
All right, we'll take the fat. We'll take all the fat off that brisket. Well, actually, you want to dry age it with the fat on. So cut it off at the flat like we just talked about, and dry age it, and then trim all your fat off. Mix that fat back with the mix some of that fat back with the flat you cut off. Make hamburger out of that, and dry age that big point. That's a good one. That's a good idea, and I think maybe that'll be a good starting point. Maybe I'll try that with the steak locker when it gets here.
I
I
just
was
think anything on that flat by itself, I think is going to be a waste. By the
Yeah,
time you cut, you're trying to trim it off, and by the time you cook it, I think it's going to be dried out leather piece of garbage.
right.
You're probably better
Brian,
off either grinding it up for a hamburger or making
yep,
corned beef out of it.
perfect. Brian P wants to know if I'd recommend a cleaver. I do. I depends on how much money you want to spend, but if you want an inexpensive cleaver that is awesome, the Kai Pro, KAI Pro. I've got two of them that I got from Atlanta Grill Company, and they're inexpensive and they're beasts. So if you want something that's affordable that'll last you forever, go have a look at the Kai Pro cleaver at Atlanta Grill Company. If you want something more expensive, obviously go look at the Shun. Shun's. I haven't played with Shun's cleaver. I don't know how big it is or how durable it is. The only cleaver I have is the Kai Pro, and I've got two of them. Jeff, tell Eric what a dump cake is. He's asking us what's a dump cake.
Dump cake. Well, I typically make my dump cake in my Dutch oven. All you do is
Mhm.
you throw in a stick of butter, let it melt. Put your cherry pie filling in there, spread it on the bottom, mix up your chocolate cake mix, pour it in, put a lid on it, and call it a day.
You don't have to use chocolate though.
No, you don't.
No,
You can use
it's a
whatever
box.
flavor
You
cake
get
you
a
want.
box cake. Yeah, Jeff's on point here. It's a stick of butter, a can of pie filling, and a box cake mix, and you literally dump it in a Dutch oven. Is that cooks with the lid on too, doesn't it, Jeff?
Yeah, yeah.
So
So you put some
it's
coals on top, and it cooks them
well,
both ways.
if you're doing it in your Kamado, you'd do it indirect in a Dutch oven at what 350,
Yeah, 350. Yeah, I'd go 350 on it.
and
Maybe
it go,
375.
it goes for 45 minutes, maybe
Yeah,
an
about
hour.
that.
Yeah, and it's just called a dump cake because you basically just dump everything into the Dutch oven. You don't even have to really stir that up much. If you let that
Nope.
butter melt first, if your butter's melted, you can dump your pie filling in there and just kind of spread it out, and then dump your cake mix in there, and you don't have to touch it. You don't have to stir the cake mix into that.
Yeah.
It will absorb its liquid from the stuff underneath it, and it'll form on top of there. It's something worth trying. So yeah, Okay, I'm gonna have to do that now that I've been talking. Now that we're talking about it. But Jeff, you and I'll get together and let's do something that's different. Let's do something that's above and beyond what we've seen. Be thinking about it, and we'll call it the John and Jeff's Dump Cake.
Cool.
So Ryan says that Chef Eric would not approve of brisket unless it's pastrami. Well, let me tell you, Chef Eric, he likes brisket a little bit more than he'll have you believe. I've seen Eric cook some extremely sublime briskets. So let's not rag on Chef Eric and his brisket so much. He does. So dump cake. If you go to YouTube and in the little search bar type in dump cake, you'll be inundated with recipes and ideas of how people are doing dump cake. Tonight here at the Man Cave, we had steak and potatoes for dinner, and I'm going to show you how I ruined Tanya's dinner. So, and we'll let Tanya come in and comment on this here in a minute.
Say it isn't so.
I did. I ruined Tanya's steak, and I don't know. It is my fault, and I should have known better because I've done it this way before, and it's ruined it before, and I just wasn't thinking. I wanted to use the broiler. My Auto Wild broiler that I was having problems with, I finally got it up and running this week. I got those problems resolved. So I got a 1 pound flat iron steak. I've been enjoying flat iron steak here lately. This steak, if you haven't had flat iron before, you need to try it because it's a lot of bang for the buck. I'm paying $9 a pound for it. So I got a 1 pound one and I cut it in half. I gave it some salt and pepper. I put them in vacuum seal bags because I'm going to cook these sous vide. Tanya's steak has to be well done. So what I did was I put Tanya's steak in the sous vide bath. I ran it at 162 for a little over an hour to let her steak get cooked well done. And then I dumped some of the hot water out, put some cold water in, and got it running at about 130. And put my steak in for an hour or an hour and a half, and just left Tanya's in there because I wanted to keep it warm, obviously, but I didn't want to cook it anymore. So Tanya's well done steak is now cooking at 130 in this sous vide bath, and I took them out, patted them dry, and took them outside, and I cooked these guys. I hate the picture here, guys. I was set up where I was pointing my camera into the sun, so you can't really see what's going on in the broiler. But the broiler did a pretty good job. I'm gonna have to learn this broiler a little bit before my searing looks really nice because I'm not used to this thing. This thing puts out an incredible amount of heat, and I'm gonna have to learn where my steak needs to be in relation to those burners to get perfect sears. This is the first steak I've cooked in it, and I was a little heavy on the sear on both of these. And first of all, the well done one sears a lot quicker than the medium rare one for obvious reasons. So this one came off early, but I made some potato wedges in the oven also to go with dinner tonight, and that's mine. That's my medium rare one cut open so you can see what's going on. But Tanya, I apologize, Tanya. Let me bring Tanya in here. I want Tanya to tell you the one word comment she told me about her steak. Tanya, Tanya,
one word.
What was the one word comment about your steak tonight?
I think it was more than one word.
Tell me the first thing you said when I asked you about it.
It's tough.
It's tough. And that's my fault. I really shouldn't have cooked Tanya's steak this way. Every time I have tried to cook a well done steak sous vide, that happens. It comes out tough. And I don't really, I mean, I think I know why. The longer cook in the bag, it's pushing most of the moisture out of the steak. There's not much moisture left in it, and it's tough, but it's dry. I could see it when she was cutting it, and I was just cringing because I said I ruined that steak before she even took her first bite of it. But
I mean, the flavor was good. It just
yeah,
was
but it's
tough.
I can't, and I feel guilty because I made Tanya's dinner as part of an experimental cook because I wanted to use this broiler. I'll make it up to you, Tanya. We'll have better steak one night next week. I'll get the filet mignons, and I'll go to Sam's and get some prime grade fillets, and we'll have fillets one night next week, and I'll do it properly. The broiler though, it worked extremely well. Those sears that I got didn't take. They took less than a minute on each side to get that, and I need to slow the process down a little bit to get a perfect sear because I want to get that sear without getting any of the char. Uh, Brian's got a point down there. He's asking, why don't you sous vide at 130 and broil it longer? I could do that, but it's a little bit difficult to have two pieces of meat ready at the same time when one of them's going to be medium rare and the other one's going to be well done. Typically, when I cook steaks for me and Tanya, I sear first and finish over indirect heat. And when I'm cooking for Tanya, I sear her steak just like I would sear mine, and then I move it to indirect heat to let it finish. And Tanya's steak has usually been on indirect heat for 7 to 8 minutes before I even start searing mine. And that usually lets me get them ready close to the same time. And when I cook steaks that way, Tanya will tell you that they're as good as they can be for a well done steak. They're not tough. They're not dried out. The sous vide process. There, maybe if I could figure out uh, maybe I need to try the Anova oven process on the steak for Tanya. I don't know if it would change anything or not, but I really don't need to change anything. I really need to cook Tanya's steaks the way that I know they're going to come out well. But like I said today, I don't normally do sous vide on steaks either. I just did it today because I wanted to finish the steaks in the broiler. The next steaks I cook, I will do some of what Brian said. I will sear my steaks first in the broiler, then lower the broiler heat and finish them in the pan underneath with some butter and garlic and uh,
So I
thyme.
was just going to say,
Yeah, so that
do a butter bath on it.
I'm gonna make a real uh, what's that famous steakhouse up in New York?
Peter
Uh,
Luger's.
Luger. Yeah, I'm gonna do a Luger style steak in the Auto Wild, and there's a drip pan. I don't know if you can see the drip pan in my photo here. Probably not. Uh, yeah, underneath here, I can melt some butter into this pan and let that butter be doing its thing with some garlic. I can start that early and let that garlic roast in the butter. And when I'm done, I can take this grate out and set the steaks directly in that butter bath and let them finish under the broiler and baste it as I go. And it's gonna make something incredible. I'm like I said though, I'm learning the Auto Wild. It's not something. It's a new tool that I have not mastered yet. So it's going to take every new grill or new toy I get. It takes me just a little while usually to learn, how to make it do its thing. So Tanya, I'm going to drop you back down here. I just wanted you to come in here and confirm that I ruined your dinner tonight, and I am sorry about that. Really,
It's okay. The potato wedges were lovely.
they were good, weren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, I messed up Tanya's dinner, and I do feel guilty about that. I shouldn't have done that, but where are we? Yeah, that's I didn't do much cooking this week, so the only cook I've got to show you right now is that steak cook because this week uh, the yard work started earlier in the week, and I didn't cook, and I went to Atlanta Grill Company yesterday, so I just I didn't do a whole lot of cooking this week, and I feel guilty about that. Let's see, y'all know anything about St. Elmo's Steakhouse? I've never even heard of it. Are you familiar with that one, Jeff?
Nope.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one either. I've never eaten at Peter Luger's either, so I don't have any firsthand experience with a Peter Luger steak. I've eaten at a lot of upper end steakhouses. The last the last really high end steakhouse I think I ate at, Tanya was actually with me. We ate at a place. In fact, it was the last time I was at an Ace show, Jeff, when I was up there with Kamado Joe at an Ace show in Chicago. Bobby took us out to dinner at a place in Chicago called, I think it was called Chicago Cut or something like that. It was a really high end place, and I didn't eat steak that night. They had Chilean sea bass on the menu, so that's what I went for. And oddly enough, that's what Bobby got also. He and I were the only ones at the table that had ordered the sea bass, and it was amazing. And I do believe it was cooked sous vide, and it was probably finished up with a culinary torch, but it was delicious. It was really good. I need to get some more sea bass and do some more fish cooks, but I'm really looking forward to cooking some fish under this broiler. I want to experiment with cedar planking under that broiler because I should be able to raise the cedar plank up under that broiler and char the top of it just like I would if I was going to char it on the grill, and then lower it down and put my fish on there and put the butter and garlic and everything else on it. Would that work?
It'll work good.
Yeah. What have you cooked this week, Jeff?
Cooked pork tenderloins using my that brine from AGC, the button rib brine. That stuff is great.
Whose
So I brine that.
whose
That's
brine is
the
it?
what, Chesapeake Bay, I think.
Okay, I'm not
Um,
familiar with it.
it's in a quart bottle. Stuff is good. I mean,
I
I
don't
cut
do a
it.
whole lot.
It's supposed to be a 5-to-1 brine. I'd go ahead and cut it to or a 1-to-5 brine. I go ahead and cut it to like 1-to-6 so I can go overnight with it.
Yeah,
And man, the flavor on those tenderloins is good. And then I cooked pizza 2 nights because I'm getting my
I saw
pizza
your
game right
pizza.
on,
Yeah,
right on. I mean,
stay on,
I got
stay
to
on
figured
it.
out what I was doing wrong. Here in Florida,
Yeah,
you cannot let your dough, after you take it out of the refrigerator, sit on the counter for 4 to 5 hours. It just
no,
it goes too far.
right.
2 hours is optimum. Boom, dynamite pizza.
Well, it all depends on your temperature. So,
Yeah, I mean
y-
that's
y-
like I say when we're running 95 degrees here,
yeah,
it doesn't take much.
no. And y'all were doing that outside.
Yeah,
Y'all were taking dough out of the refrigerator and letting it come to the outside temps. Was it that?
yeah, yeah, but we only had to let it sit out there for maybe 5-10 minutes, and it was up to
Yeah.
temp.
Here, if I take dough out of the refrigerator here, I need it to sit outside. I'm in the man cave. I'm in the basement. My man cave basement here, guys. This basement, it can be 100 degrees outside, and it's 70 or 72 in this basement, and that I enjoy. But it's if I pull pizza dough out of the refrigerator, it needs 4 hours for it to get ready for me to be able to use it. It takes it 4 hours to loosen up enough to where I can shape it. And
Well,
if I
and that
take
was my problem. I was going 4 hours, and it was just like
Yeah,
mush.
Jeff, it's you're forgetting something that we learned when we were doing bread during the pandemic. You got to look at it. It's going
Yep.
to tell you when it's ready. There's
And
a
I wasn't looking. I was just going by time and going,
Yeah,
okay,
the
let it go.
poke test. You got to use the poke test on those dough balls. If you poke it and it springs back immediately, it's not ready yet. If you poke it and it doesn't spring back at all, it's overproof. You're looking for that poke where that hole slowly comes back and fills back in. And that's one of the things I use to know when it's time, when it's good to go. If, but we, yeah, we made a lot of bread.
Yes, we did. Like I said,
And
that 2 hour out of the refrigerator using Freddie's recipe for the
yeah,
Neapolitan came out
hmm
perfect. I mean, I
awesome.
got a nice raise on the outside crust. Had a
Right.
good crumb. I mean, it was dynamite pizza.
Well, I haven't made a lot of pizza lately, so I think I'm probably going to put pizza on the menu one night next week here and fire up the Alpha and make pizza for Tanya and I for dinner one night next week. Uh,
Yeah, I want to up my game and move over to a sourdough pizza crust
right.
pizza dough.
Sourdough's a different animal. It with pizza, it really is. Brandon says, with fall and winter coming, what are your favorite soups on the Kamado? You've tried my chili recipe and loved it. Okay, Jeff, do you know what I'm going to tell him?
Nope.
No, I got two soups that I love, and I just did a video on one that I published last week. Was it the tomato soup, the fire
Yep, that's
roasted
good.
tomato soup? That's
Now
good
that's a good
stuff.
cool weather friend.
But Brunswick stew, man, is where it's at.
Well, I don't know, John. You know, Brunswick stew is good, but I tell you what, my chicken corn chowder, when I make that, man, I got people crawling out of the woodwork to get that stuff.
Chicken corn chowder.
Yeah, buddy.
You'll have to send that recipe to me and let me give it a try.
That stuff is rich. Oh my goodness gracious. I modified. I got it out from Disney, and then I tweaked it
Yeah.
to my own likings. It was
Eric wants
from
to know
the
how long.
Boma restaurant out there.
Eric wants to know how long it takes to get the Alpha ready to cook. I'm
About
assuming
20
he's
minutes.
asking. I'm assuming he's asking about Neapolitan pizza. If you're not asking about Neapolitan pizza, be sure and let me know. Jeff says he can have his ready in 20 minutes. I think for Neapolitan pizza, I might be able to have mine ready in 20. Because what I'm going, if I was in a hurry, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a rather large fire right in the
Hmm.
center of the grill and let that deck heat underneath that fire as that fire gets rip roaring. And once that fire's blazing, and I've got a pretty good bed of coals, which will happen in 20 minutes if you're using small enough splits. I rake it over to the side, and I've got enough heat in that stone. I can cook a couple of pizzas really hot. Uh,
Yeah, once you move that fire over, throw two more splits on, and you're good to
yeah.
go.
The thing is if you want to cook something at a lower temperature, cooking takes longer to get ready. It
Yep.
takes longer to get the Alpha ready for lower temp cooks. Like if I wanted to throw a pan of lasagna on there or a macaroni and cheese or something where I want to be at 400, I have to be careful because I don't want to run the grill. Well, you can run the grill up hot and then just cook on the downswing. You can watch the temperature, and as the temperature falls below 500, you can throw your food on there and let it cook in what I call the downswing on the temp. And but that oven, in order for it to hold its temp long enough, or for the Alpha One, you need to get it hot. It needs to preheat adequately because the only thermal mass in these Alpha ovens is in the deck that your food's sitting on. There's no brick thermal mass up in the dome on these ovens. These are not full bricked. There's the heat that you're getting off the tops coming from the flame or coming from the fire that you've got pushed over to one side of the grill. And Jeff, one thing I have not tried on the Alpha or on the One, is having some fire on both sides. Have you ever tried any of that?
Nope, I haven't tried that. But have you tried using one of the Lodge cast iron trivets in the bottom to put your casserole on?
I don't normally use the Lodge. I've got
Well,
these.
it could be. I said Lodge. It could be any trivet. Yep.
I've got this stainless steel one sometimes that I'll set in there. It depends on what I'm cooking because sometimes I know that if I put a stoneware pan right on the deck, I'm gonna
Gotta burn
scorch
it.
whatever I put in there. So this guy gives me enough air gap where that doesn't happen. And I've got two of these. I bought these at Bed Bath and Beyond, and they were like $6 a piece, and they work great. And also for what it's worth, now that you mentioned it, those lodge things, did you know that those are not trivets?
No, they're not, but that's what I call
That's what I use mine for, but those things are designed to sit in the bottom of a Dutch oven to keep your meat from sitting right on the bottom of the Dutch oven. And I didn't know that until recently. I don't remember who told me that, but I thought it was a trivet, and that's why I bought the one I have. I didn't know green chili stew. Levi likes green chili stew. Okay, I like the fire roasted tomato soup, and also after I did my fire roasted tomato soup last week, I saw somebody in one of the alpha groups do that same thing. I don't know why I didn't think to do this. I should have fire roasted my tomatoes in the alpha. I would have gotten a much better result, I think. And I think the next batch of fire roasted tomato soup I'm going to do that. I'm going to take my tomatoes and instead of halving them and putting them face down, I'm going to slice them and I'm going to layer them out in a roasting pan and I'm going to throw them in the alpha and put some garlic and onion in that and really get some char on the tomatoes, and
That'd be
then go to the Vitamix with it. Uh, yeah, I saw some. I don't remember who I saw do that, but it came up in the Alpha group. But I like Brunswick stew. I like my tomato soup. Tanya, I got to let me bring Tanya back. Tanya, you with me?
Uh-huh.
Well, did we made a corn chowder in the Vitamix that was really good, didn't we?
Yeah, that was
And
off the hook. Yep.
was it a Vitamix recipe?
Actually, yes.
So yeah, this Vitamix blender is so powerful. You can put your ingredients in it and turn that thing on high, and it not only purees whatever you've got in it, it cooks it. It gets hot enough. The blade that's spinning down there in the bottom of that thing gets hot enough to cook the food, to cook the soup. And you can have steaming hot soup. So what this thing did, we made whatever the puree part of it was, and near the end of it, you put some more creamed corn in it or something that's been on a stove or something, where what you have is not completely pureed. You've got a little bit of corn texture to it, but that chowder that we made that time in the Vitamix was really good. That would be a cold weather soup in a lot of cases.
And then you have all your gumbos. I mean, I've made my gumbos on my Big Joe.
Yeah, those are really good. I probably need to do another chili. I can't recall if I've done chili. I can't recall if I've done chili in the Atlanta Grill Company group yet. I need to go look.
I don't think you
I,
have.
you don't?
No, I don't think you've done chili yet.
I need to look because I've got a lot of ways I like to make chili. Tanya and I are fans of I'm gonna let these guys in on a secret that I don't know
Okay.
if I've ever told them before. And Tanya knows I'm guilty. We've got a crock pot. And I cook in this crock pot sometimes, and ham beans, this ham beans. I know you guys have seen ham bean stuff in the grocery store. These bags of beans. I like their chili kit, and I like their 15 bean soup. It's really good. Tanya and I have done both of those on several occasions. Uh, what other soups? Tanya makes more soups than I do. Uh,
Well, I love a good French onion.
yeah, well, I did a French onion one time where I needed to caramelize 4 pounds of onions, and that took a while.
Yep. But
Good Lord.
did you roast your bones in the oven when you were
I
making it?
didn't make the, I didn't use I didn't make the beef broth from scratch.
Oh,
I
okay.
used I think we used what's that stuff called, Tanya, that's in the jar?
Better than bouillon.
Better than bouillon. I think that's what we used.
That stuff's good, but every now and then it's nice to throw a bunch of bones in a roasting pan and throw some root vegetables in there and let her rip.
Uh do you roast beef bones before you make stock with it?
Oh yeah.
Or I'm missing something here. I'm thinking that my chef that teaches my classes said something about not roasting the beef bones. I
No,
need
that's
to
where all the
look into
flavors
that.
at.
Huh?
That's where all the flavors at is in that roasting of the bones.
I know you do it with chicken. I like to make the stock with a roasted carcass, but I don't know. I've never made beef broth from scratch. I've never done it. I've made chicken broth and I've made vegetable broths, but I've never made a beef broth. But all the grocery stores around here, most of them sell beef bones for that very purpose. So, uh,
Back in the day, they used to give them away.
yeah,
Now
they
they
don't give
sell
them away anymore, but they're cheap. They're just a couple dollars a pound. So I don't. And let me tell you, I don't feel guilty about not making beef broth either because this stuff. Tanya introduced me to this stuff. This better than bouillon.
it's
It
good.
makes some really. It's really good for what it is. I don't know whether I would go to the trouble to make the broths from scratch after having used this stuff. Have you ever tried any of it?
Yeah, I've used it. It's good. I mean, I'm like you. I'd rather use it than make it from scratch. But every now and then, I like to get down and dirty
Yeah.
and go back to my
Well,
roots.
Tanya likes egg drop soup, and the last couple times
Mhm.
I've made
I
egg drop
love
soup,
egg drop soup.
I just I use the chicken better than bouillon, and that's my base. That's my chicken soup. Is I think it's 1 teaspoon of that per cup of water or something. It's the ratio's on the jar, and this stuff has to live in the refrigerator. It's really good. And
And
egg
it
drop
comes
soup,
in ham,
yeah.
garlic, chicken, beef, veggie.
There's a whole bunch of different varieties of it, but I think we've got several of them in her refrigerator upstairs. But I've, I've, I don't know. Making broth. I think everybody needs to learn how to make broth. I think making broth is a good thing, but they've made it easy with some of the, and this better than bouillon stuff's all natural. It's not full of chemicals and additives. It's a reduction. It's an actual reduction, right? Yeah, Ed, I'm aware of the differences there. I use broth and stock interchangeably a lot of times, and I know that there's a difference between the two. But when I'm making soup, all that matters is that it tastes good.
End
So
result. Well, that's what it
yeah,
matters on any dish. End result. Does it taste good?
the zuppa toscana. Now, Anurag, my mom loves that stuff from Olive Garden, so I probably need to learn to make that too.
And
My
John, you
mom's
make a great taco soup.
Yeah, my taco soup's pretty good, but I hadn't made that in a while. Maybe we'll get that back on the menu again too. The taco soup is good. Oh, it has been a long time since I've made that, and my mom loves that. My brother-in-law is actually a big fan of that. Lyle likes taco soup. So anyway, we're over an hour. I apologize. I didn't really have a program or any specific topics planned tonight, but I do want to show you one more thing right quick while I'm thinking about it. I did a review post on this on Man Cave Meals earlier this week. I'm going to drop both of you guys back down here for a second so I can show something main screen here. These gloves, uh, these heat resistant gloves are my go-to gloves. When I did a video the other week on how to cool your grill down quickly, I got asked about my heat resistant gloves. I actually used 2 different gloves in that video, but these are my go-to gloves. And when I got asked about these, I went on Amazon to get the link, and lo and behold, these guys were on sale for $10 a pair. So I bought 2 new pairs of these this week. These are These have a big cotton lining on the inside. They go up over your wrist. And I've got big hands with fat fingers, and these gloves fit me fine. And I've got all the finger dexterity I need. And what I love about these gloves is the heat resistant silicone material is on both sides of these gloves. This glove doesn't care which hand I put it on. I can take this same glove and use it on the other hand, and I've still got my heat resistant material there. And uh, I think when I went back and looked, these gloves were $18.99 for a pair, but I highly recommend these. Most of the time, when people come up on social media and ask about heat resistant gloves, one of the things I see pop up all the time for a recommendation is go buy yourself a pair of welder's gloves. And that is bad advice, guys. I don't care who's telling you that. The welder's gloves do not resist heat anywhere near as good as these things do. Now,
Well, see, the difference with welder's gloves is the whole idea behind the welder's glove is the ash and the spark. When it lands on the leather, it doesn't burn. That's it.
Kevin's raising some cane down there tonight. But Jeff's right. Welder's gloves are not designed to let you pick something up that's extremely hot and let you hold it for any length of time. These gloves are also not designed to let you pick something up that's hot and hold it for a long time. But I can use these gloves. I can pick up a hot grill grate and have time to take it and set it somewhere safe. No problem with these gloves. I can pick up a hot heat deflector. I can pick up a hot soapstone. I can pick up a hot cast iron pan with these and probably have, you know, 8 to 10 seconds with these gloves before I can feel the intense heat coming through these gloves. You cannot do that with a welder's glove. A welder's glove may give you 3 seconds or 4 seconds max before your hand's burning. But the brand name on these gloves is ANGLINK. I don't know if you can see that. I posted a review on Man Cave Meals of these gloves, and I highly recommend if you're looking for some heat resistant gloves, you got to try these. You'll not find any cheaper, and they do go on sale periodically. I've This is like the fourth pair of these I've bought. I've got one pair that's completely worn out, but I've still got them. I haven't made myself throw them away yet, and I bought another pair, but I decided to grab two more of these when I saw them on sale for $9.99 last week. And Ryan says it looks like they're sold out. Yeah, keep looking. They'll come back. I've been talking about these this week, so it's very possible that Amazon sold out their supply. I don't know. I don't know who the maker is on these. I can't find a website where these things exist other than Amazon. So these things I don't know where they're made. They're probably made in China. I don't know, but let me tell you, these things are the bomb.
And
There's
when they wear out, they're good hot pads.
well, you can also if they get dirty, you can throw these things in the washing machine. Just
Yeah.
don't dry them. Let them air dry, and you're good to go. But you can use those to take a hot pan out of the oven. Uh, Throw away your what do you call those hot pads that people use in the kitchen? Get yourself a pair of these gloves.
The oven
Yeah,
mitts.
the oven mitt. Well, oven mitts are okay, but you don't have any finger dexterity with an oven mitt. These things let you grab onto something and really hold on to it with the fingers. And I'm just happy. I've got two brand new pairs of those now, and I'm actually since I got two, I'm gonna take a pair of them and put them in Tanya's cabinet up there and see if I can get Tanya to try them out. She might like them. I think if she actually gives them a shot. She cooks a lot of things in her oven where she's using the she doesn't I don't think she's got oven mitts. I think she's got some little silicone pads that she used to grab them with. What do you use, Tanya? She's not listening to me. She's got her mic turned off.
Yeah, I had my mic turned off because Lily and I are, hanging out.
Bonding.
What did you ask me?
I want you to try some of these. I'm gonna
Oops.
give you a pair of these to try, and I'd like to know what you think about them
Yeah.
because I bought 2 new pairs of those this week, and I've got 2 brand new pairs of them. I'd
Yeah.
like for you to try those for getting stuff in and out of the oven. One other thing I set out here to show you this week. This vodka is made by Buffalo Trace, but this has 20 vanilla beans in it. This is going to become cooking vanilla, and I've had these going since the 24th of August, which they're nowhere near ready yet. But I wish you could smell this. Oh man, that's crazy. I've made a lot of vanilla of my own out of vodka and out of bourbon, and vanilla beans are stupid expensive. When I was in Atlanta yesterday, before I left to come home, I found out that there's a Penzeys spice shop that's only about 8 or 9 miles away from Atlanta Grill Company. So I ran down to visit that place to pick up some stuff that I needed. And I just happened to notice that they had vanilla beans in there. They had Mexican vanilla beans. I don't think I use Madagascar vanilla to do this with, but they had Mexican vanilla beans in there, and they had a tube that had 3 vanilla beans in it, and I think it was like $28 for 3 vanilla beans. I've never seen them that high before. But guys, if you want to get some vanilla beans to make your own vanilla, go to eBay and do a eBay search for vanilla beans, and you'll find Madagascar vanilla beans. You'll find some Mexican vanilla beans, and I think the last time I looked, vanilla beans are at or below $1 a bean now on some of these places that you get them on eBay. So I put 20 vanilla beans in that fifth of vodka. So in about 6 or 7 more months, that stuff will be ready to go. And I don't need it because I've got a full bottle of vodka in there that's over a year old now. That I've got a lifetime supply of vanilla here right now. So somebody said they found the Angling John. Uh, they're $17.99. So there is a website. I didn't find their website, and I actually looked for it. If you got a link to that website, post it up here. So I guess you could buy direct from them. $17.99. They were $18.99 on Amazon after that $9.99 sale ended. So Vanilla Bean Honorog says he can put us in touch with vanilla bean growers. But yeah, I'm done. I'm not going to make any more vanilla for a long time because right now I've got 2/5 of vodka, and I've got uh 375 mil 375 mil bottles of bourbon vanilla. So I personally now have enough vanilla to last me for a really long time. Okay, Angling Mall. Okay, I'll save that link, and I'll check that out. But they're normally available on Amazon, and they're Prime free shipping if you're a Prime member. But I really I just wanted to show you those. That's on my Man Cave Meals Really Right Stuff thing. The hashtag MCM Really Right Stuff. Those are on it. So they're a great gift. You know, if you're looking for a gift to buy somebody that's a barbecue guy or a girl, or if you want something, you know, if you want to put something on your wish list, put those on it because that'd make a great thing to have. You can pick up hot charcoal with that. I've raked around hot coals by hand with these gloves. It's no problem. But then again, charcoal's not as hot as people think it is when you touch it. So but it is hot, and I don't really recommend doing it. But you can rake hot coals around with those gloves and not have any problems. They're amazing. All right, we're a minute hour and 20 minutes in. So, has anybody got any questions for me before we shut down? We're running about the same. We run long every week. I've quit worrying about that as long as we got something worthwhile to talk about. So, got a couple people there that have the links to the AngLink Mall. That's good. But like I said, they are available on Amazon, and you won't have to pay shipping. They're prime shippings on those. Yes, I haven't actually finished my bourbon yet.
Shame on you.
Well, I poured that a little heavy too. I'm, my pour, my weekly pours at least 3 ounces, and so that's a double. And a lot of times it's maybe 3.5. I don't think I've ever poured 4, but except for last week when I finished off that bottle of that 12-year-old, that Knob Creek. Yeah, I had more, but man, this stuff right here, this is crazy. And Jeff, next time I hook up with you, remind me to bring you a sample of that.
Okay.
Next time we're together at Atlanta Grill Company, I'll bring you a couple of samples of several of these things I have here for you to try. Mark wants to know what's one bourbon I've wanted to try but haven't. Well, let's see here. I'm going to be getting my hands on a bottle of that 10-year-old Jack Daniels. I've got a connection that's going to hook me up with a bottle of that sometime soon. Let's see. There's a lot of popular high-end bourbons that I haven't tried. I have not tried Blanton's. I have not tried Stag from the Buffalo Trace. I would like to get my hands on a bottle of Stag. That's Jeff. The Stag is the barrel proof stuff from this same line that the E.H. Taylor's from.
Yeah, lots of
So,
luck finding that.
well, it's not impossible to find. I would like to get a bottle of the Stag. I would like to get a bottle of the 17-year-old Eagle Rare. I
Can't
would
find
like
that
to
here.
I would like to get my hands on that. Phil says, "What bourbon would you suggest for the first time?" Let's see. I'm gonna say I'm gonna move from the bourbon and have you go for whiskey, which we'll not get into the differences in bourbon and whiskey, but if you want to try for a first time guy, I would go with my go to and start with that Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Select. Jack, that's it's I don't know. That's I'm not a good person to ask that question really because I'm a novice with bourbon. I love Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Select and it's easy to get. Every
And
liquor
here's the thing:
store.
everybody's taste is different. So what you and I like, somebody else may not like.
Yeah, I haven't started trying to like rye yet, and a lot of people are hardcore into the rye. The rye whiskeys have a peppery flavor to me, and I like the sweetness of the corn whiskey. But I am going to try. Uh, I'm going to get a bottle of the Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Rye, and I'm going to try to learn to appreciate that flavor by drinking some of it. Uh, the rye, I don't know. We're just going to have to see.
As far as the bourbon go, I'd still recommend the Eagle Rare if you can get it.
Eagle, yeah. The thing about those is the Buffalo Trace stuff is just hard to come by
It's very
anywhere.
hard
I
to
don't
come by.
know. Some people say it's easier to get where they live. If you can get a bottle of Buffalo Trace, start there because it's cheap. It's $28 a bottle, and it is a fine bourbon. It really is. If you live in an area where you can get Buffalo Trace, get the Buffalo Trace. I, that's a perfect place to start. I won't argue with that. I've got a bottle of it, or half a bottle. It's hard to come by where I live,
It's
and
hard to come by down here.
I
I
don't have
keep
multiple bottles of that. The only reason I'm drinking the Colonel Taylor tonight is because I have another bottle that hasn't been opened yet.
You would
And
think the Buffalo Trace would be easier to come by since it's lower end than the Eagle Rare, but I can get the Eagle Rare easier.
well, Buffalo Trace and Eagle Rare seem to come in fairly regularly at my shop down the road over here, but I have to be there at the right time to get it because they only get a limited amount of it, and when it comes, it goes quickly. They had
Well, that,
one of the bottles they had at the lottery last weekend was a half a gallon bottle of Eagle Rare.
well,
They had a
the one
few.
time that I came across the Buffalo Trace, they wanted me to buy 5 bottles of this cheap vodka, and I think that they were doing that on purpose to get rid of. I think they over ordered some cheap vodka one time, and
Yeah,
I said,
I
"What do
don't
I
know
want
if
5 bottles of cheap vodka for?"
yeah, I don't think I would buy it in that under those circumstances. But Eagle
Oh, I didn't.
Rare, Eagle Rare is like Eagle Rare is good. Buffalo, anything you can get from Buffalo Trace is a fine example of whatever it is. There's two different mash bills at Buffalo Trace, and the mash bill that Buffalo Trace comes from is a little different from the mash bill that the Blanton's comes from. The mash bill number one is the one that starts out with I think I call it, is it the ancient age or the benchmark? The benchmark.
Benchmark.
It's got White Dog, Benchmark, Buffalo Trace, Eagle Rare, uh, Stag, and E.H. Taylor. Those all come from that grain bill. That's a heavy corn bill. It's sweet. The stuff that comes from the Blanton's line is the Elmer T. Lee. I've got a bottle of Elmer T. Lee here. It's what I don't know if I'd call it a rye forward. It's got a little bit more rye in the grain bill than the others do. But that Elmer T. Lee is really good also. I was really surprised at how well I like that. So I need to get my friend Chris on here from the Food and Booze Geeks Facebook group to come on here one night and talk bourbon. Uh, Maybe if you guys are really interested in learning something about bourbon, I've got a friend that knows about bourbon that I need to bring on here, and maybe I'll talk to him and see if we can get him on sometime soon because he said he would come on whenever I got ready to talk about that. He's a big fan of Four Roses bourbon. Uh, he loves the Four Roses stuff, and he's drinking that more frequently than anything else. So let me see if I can bring him on, and we'll have a night where we talk about bourbon. And guys, if you want to talk about beer sometime, hang on just a minute. We got one that needs to be dealt with in the comment section there. So it's if you want to talk about beer, I haven't done a beer drinking since I started doing the bourbon, but I've got brewing experience with beer, so we can talk about that too if you have that interest. So anyway, we've been going for an hour and a half now. I need to shut down. I'm tired. I'm ready to go kick back,
Me
uh,
too.
watch a little Netflix, and try to get some sleep because I'm working this weekend. So, guys, I appreciate it. And until next week, y'all have a good weekend. Thanks, Jeff.